Good afternoon, and welcome to the December 22nd Agenda Planning Meeting. At this time, I would ask you in the audience to silence your phones. This meeting is being recorded for the accuracy of the proceedings. The Agenda Planning Meeting is set to final the agenda for next week's board meeting. There will be no votes taken on suggested agenda items at this meeting. Any voting or approval of agenda items will only occur at next week's board meeting. At this time, I'm going to ask the board members to introduce themselves. And today I will start with Bud Jensen.
I'm Bud Jensen, Director.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Hank Ung, Secretary. Hi, Dave.
Roger Beagle, President.
Frank Gould, Treasurer.
Irene Deloisio, Director.
You pronounce your name a whole lot better than I do.
Okay, Director.
Did I mispronounce it?
No. Thank you. You will notice that board members Don Hicks and Gay Zawatsky and our general manager are out this week, but they will be attending next week's board meeting. To Gay, Steve, and Don, we wish you all a safe and Merry Christmas and look forward to your return next week. Since this meeting has no audience, except for necessary management and a committee member, I will try and explain the agenda items as we proceed. I would like to recognize and thank all management that are in attendance today. Your help and support to make this community run smoothly and continue to be a desirable community for active adults is greatly appreciated by this board of directors. As we go through the agenda today, board members will be asked if they need additional information, have questions, or need clarifications on agenda items. Once any information, questions, or answers are completed, I will ask the board members if this needs to be left on the agenda. I am looking for a yes response from the board members. So right now we're going to go to the agenda. Hank Unk, will we have someone to do the Pledge of Allegiance for us?
Yes, we would.
Approve the November 24th board meeting minutes. We will leave that on the agenda.
Yes.
President's message. We always will leave the president's message on. Employee of the month, we will have one. Treasury's report, Frank Gould.
Yes, we will have a report next week.
Very good. Now we come down to committee reports. Bud Jensen, will we have an architectural compliance committee report?
We will have a report, President.
Thank you. Election committee, Brian Sproats is here today to talk about a couple of things that are on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you can imagine, we've had a busy month. We confirmed our sole committee meeting schedule and location for the remainder of the year. We discussed our committee goals and objectives, which has been the same as the last 4 years. So it's really just a case of changing the date on that from 2020 to 2021. And that's been submitted for board approval. One of the main topics of discussion was part of the bylaws proposed changes. One particular section in question was Section 8, which I understand has now been quashed as an election item by the attorneys. So I'm assuming we'll probably be taking that offline for separate discussion. That won't be on the board
Yes,
agenda
we will
next
be
week.
taking that up later this year,
Okay.
later next year, excuse me.
Okay, but we have suggested, and it has been approved, that we will pursue that to create the final package of voting materials so that whenever we want to pull the trigger on that, or whenever the board wants to pull the trigger on that, we can actually do that very quickly, subject to the attorney's approval. So we'll be obviously working on that in the next few weeks or so. We did discuss the format for those documents as well, which were based on the previously attorney-approved 2010 version of those same things. And I'm 90% complete with those documents now, with the exception of the Article 8 proposal that we're still talking about. So that's almost complete. We did discuss, as a result of Don Hicks's suggestion at the last meeting, the potential advanced distribution of the homeowner voting package, and the election committee recommendation is that we don't really need to do that. We feel there's sufficient time frame between the dates in the current calendar of events schedule to accommodate whatever homeowner notification is necessary. We discussed the timing of events calendar, in particular with relation to how COVID restrictions may impact us. And since the original calendar that we put together, we have since agreed that the Meet the Candidate Night will be moved to Palo Verde patio instead of this room here. I've confirmed with Marshall that that's okay, and I just need to get back to him with the floor layout that's required for that event. So I'm working on that at the moment. We also discussed whatever potential COVID restrictions may impact us further, with the potential of Zooming, streaming, or whatever else we may need to do. So we've got some suggestions in the works on that, just in case things get a lot worse than they are already. We also discussed the same potential restrictions may occur with effect to ballot counting day and things like that. So we're prepping for what restrictions may or may not be in place, because clearly things are different now to what they were this time last year, and will probably be different when it comes to events like the ballot counting. So we've been talking about that as well. We discussed and reviewed a revised Board of Directors candidate application form, and that has been presented for board approval. A minor adjustment there relating to the number of signatures that we recommend candidates acquiring, because last year we almost got to the point where we had to disqualify 2 candidates because they didn't get, or we couldn't confirm the required number of signatures on their petitions. And it would be a shame to disqualify somebody on an administrivia issue. So one of the recommendations there is to extend the suggested number of signatures they get on their form. So you'll see that in your package, I think. So that was all at our meeting on December the 2nd. Recommendations for the board was a modification to Article 8.3.7 as per the proposed list of bylaw changes that we had dated the 24th or 20th, I think. But as we've said, we'll take that offline. Recommendations to the changes, recommendations to the board candidate application form, and the other board recommendation was request the approval of the election committee goals and objectives 21 document. Any questions to that?
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, thank you very much.
The remainder of board committees have been canceled, their meetings have been canceled until further notice. There will be no other committee reports at this time. Brings us down to project reports. I know Steve is not here with us today, but we do know that on the project reports for the Palo Verde restroom and his management report will be made at next week's board meeting. That brings us down to director's comments. Should we leave this on the agenda?
Yes.
Good. Brings us down to a capital reserve replacement fund request. First on there is management recommends updating the current AutoCAD irrigation and the central control maps for both Cottonwood and Palo Verde golf courses. Management recommends a sole source bid from Marvin Mills Irrigation Consulting for a total price of $34,000. Board members, are there any questions, comments, or clarifications needed on this? Hearing none, shall I leave this item on the agenda?
Yes.
Next comes a management recommendation for replacement of the current golf course weather station. The current golf course weather station is no longer operational and replacement parts are no longer available. Management recommends this again to be a sole source bid from Ewing Irrigation and Landscaping Supply for a total price of $24,369. Ewing is the exclusive regional distributor for this item. Board members, are there any questions or clarifications that you need on this item?
No.
Should this item remain on the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Next on the agenda, this is our tab number 4. Management recommends the purchase of a new computer and software for irrigation control at the golf courses. Management recommends the sole source bid from Ewing Irrigation and Landscaping Supply for a total price of $10,066. Ewing is the regional distributor for this item. Any questions that you have on this particular agenda item? Shall this item remain on the agenda?
Yes.
Next comes the replacement. Management recommends replacing the fountain at Winston Lake with an Aquamaster 2 horsepower fountain. The current fountain has motor failure on the pump and is beyond repair. Management recommends a sole source bid from Solitude Lake Management for a total price of $8,732. Solitude Lake Management is the exclusive provider in Arizona for Aquamaster commercial fountains. Is there any questions on or clarifications on this item?
No.
I do have one for Scott. I want to make sure that I understand this. This Winston Lake, sometimes is referred to as Swan Lake. It is on Chestnut between Alma School as we come in there. Am I
Yes.
correct?
That is correct.
Some of the people, including my wife, didn't know where Winston Lake was.
I think it got the name Winston because that was the company that
Put it in.
that whole area.
Very good. Thank you. Shall we leave this item on the agenda?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is management recommends the replacing of the fountain at the Cottonwood Golf Course, hole number 4, the south end, with an Aquamaster 2-horsepower fountain. The current fountain has motor failure on the pump and is beyond repair. Again, management recommends a sole source bid from Solitude Lake Management for a total price of $8,974, which includes a light kit, 200-foot power cord, and light cable. Again, Solitude Lake Management is the exclusive provider of Arizona Aquamaster commercial fountains. Any questions on this one, board?
No.
Shall I leave this on the agenda?
Yes.
Next comes up, management recommends replacing the fountain at Palo Verde Golf Course, hole number 14, with an Aquamaster 2-horsepower fountain. The current fountain has motor failure on the pump and is beyond repair. Management again recommends a sole source bid from Solitude Lake Management for a total price of $8,732. Solitude Lake Management is the exclusive provider in Arizona for the Aquamaster commercial fountains. Any questions on this agenda item?
No.
Shall I leave this on the agenda for next week?
Yes.
Very good. Next comes up PV Gate Fund. There is none. Next comes up Capital Improvement Fund request. Management recommends the construction of 3 pickleball courts located just south of the Cottonwood Tennis Court number 1. 3 bids were sent to and received from Farnsworth Construction, $276,319, plus a 10% contingency of $27,632. General Acrylics, $300,554. Elite Sports, no bid the project. Management recommends the bid from Farnsworth Construction for $276,319, plus a 10% contingency of $27,632 for a total price of $303,951. Board members, are there any questions or clarifications on this item?
No.
Shall this be left on the agenda for next week?
Yes.
Very good. We are down to voluntary contribution fund. There are none. Palo Verde restroom renovation, there are no change orders. Old business, there are none. Under new business, we have 2 items. First is to approve the election committee's 2021 goals and objectives. Shall this item be left on the agenda?
Yes.
Next one becomes approve the election committee recommended changes to the board candidate application form. Board members, are there any questions or clarifications on this agenda item?
No.
Shall this be left on the next week's agenda?
Yes.
Under first readings, we have none. Under closing comments, homeowners' comments, we are not having homeowners here unless some appear. Board members, do you have any additional comments?
No, I think Bob had a question.
If I will if you would just take a couple of seconds and a recommendation, Bob Newer has a question. Next year,
Is there a
please
guesstimate,
introduce yourself.
Robert Newer, homeowner?
Okay.
Is there a guesstimate on when the Palo Verde bathrooms are to be
That will
completed?
be provided to you next week
Okay,
when Steve comes back in his management report.
okay. Does anyone know if they work on it every day or?
Here's what I know. Yes, they do.
Okay,
And work is done still on it every day. Here's what I know. I'm gonna wait and be corrected maybe, but the original delay had to do with some partitions, had to do with COVID and the supplier, okay? The supplier had to back order the items, they couldn't get them done in time. We were offered a product that was lesser quality, and Steve chose to not take the lesser quality and wait for the better quality partitions, and that is the delay.
Gotcha,
Now, he may add a couple of things to that, but that's my understanding.
okay. And at the last board meeting, I mentioned that for this to qualify as a proper board meeting, there has to be an opportunity for homeowners to ask questions. And I
Right.
mentioned that some had gone to Zoom so that they had the two-way communication and questions could be typed in. Have you given that any thought?
We are not doing anything at this particular time. We will let homeowners, we have talked about a couple of things. It has not been said yet. We're not gonna do them. As of this day, we're not gonna do them right now.
And I did find a second firm on the internet I found the first one that I got the answer from, but I found a second firm that had commented on their website that the purpose of that is to qualify as an open meeting. Homeowners must be able to ask their questions prior to the board making the decision so that their questions could impact the board's decision.
That's a correct statement. We're not, okay. Yes, we've been running Zoom, or we've been running live streaming since March, maybe even February of this year. That's 9 months, okay? We have answered every homeowner that they showed up, we've answered questions and let them address. We strongly suggest that homeowners do not attend the meetings, and that is for our safety and for the homeowner's safety, and that comes directly from our attorneys. Okay. Now's the time that I want to wish Merry Christmas to all homeowners, management, employees, and families of the Cottonwood Palo Verde community. We welcome you to next week's board meeting, December 30th at 3 p.m. and we will be live streaming that. This meeting is adjourned.